Since her debut in 2019, she has accrued over 80 million streams on Spotify. She's brought her fusion of jazz and R&B with an undeniable soul to the forefront of the Irish music industry. Recognised both here and overseas, her name has shown up in almost every reputable district, from Hot Press magazine as a one to watch, distinct Spotify playlists, Radio Breakers Top 10, featuring on Tracks of the Year, and going silver with her single Found Love. Congratulations, by the way. She also has a rad fashion style. Let's find out more from the Waterford talent herself as we go backstage on the VIP to chat with Carrie Baxter. Carrie, how are you?
I'm much better after that intro. Thank you very much.
Why, it's my pleasure. Look, I'm only...
my cheeks from smiling so much.
Look, it's all the hard work that you're putting in, Carrie. It must be said. There's something that we do here. As you heard there in the introduction, we're backstage on the Very Irish playlist. And as you might be very well familiar, given your career, you might be aware of what a rider is. Are you?
Yes, I'm familiar.
Excellent. Carrie, there is no financial limits. You get to have whatever you want on the rider. What 3 things are you going to have?
Oh my goodness. Do you know what? This is a terrible question for me because I usually just get 2 types of water.
Okay.
So basic. However, no limitations.
No limitations.
I definitely have a bottle of champagne, that's for sure. Like really expensive champagne that I would never buy myself.
Yes.
I would have some sort of massive platter of sushi for before my gig. And I suppose I'd have like a tea as well. Is that really basic?
Sushi, champagne and tea. I just love that there's 2 drinking choices in there. One of them for before or after. Who knows? I'll let you decide.
Yeah, well, I think you have to have the tea to warm up. Then I'm planning to have like the unlimited platter of sushi sort of half before the show, half after. And then I'm like, oh my God, there's a really expensive bottle of champagne here. I must celebrate the show.
Exactly. Continue to eat my unlimited sushi, of course. It makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
Is there any spot in particular? I know if you're a big fan of sushi, there's always a spot that you just know it's like the Bible. It's the holy grail of a spot. Do you have a spot that you go to for good sushi?
I don't have a spot. That's terrible, isn't it? I think that's probably how naive I am about what good sushi is.
Right.
I really wouldn't class myself as highly educated at all. I just really love sushi.
Okay. The love is undeniable. Who cares about how smart you are if you just love it, right? It's a passion. Yeah. Let's talk about passions, because like this sound that you have, Carrie, so we branded to the Very Irish playlist back in, I think it was 2023. And that was the first time I got introduced to your sound. And I was like, where did this come from? So when I saw that it was Waterford, I instantly just started to think, and to this day, I'm still curious, how did you introduce, because let me just describe this genre that you've created, which is a sonic fusion of neo-soul, R&B and jazz. Where did this come from?
Thank you, first and foremost. I've never been accredited to developing my own genre before, but I think like I don't even know if there is genres anymore. Do you know what I mean? I think people use so much stuff, and I usually just refer to it as like an umbrella of like what I've grown up listening to, you know?
Okay.
I think, you know, I have to give them credit where credit is due. My family have very good taste in music. And I grew up in a house full of music, like really just good stuff being played all the time. And I think I never really wanted to become an artist. So by the time I had actually decided, oh, this is for me, all of that great stuff and all those great artists that have gone before me had seeped into my subconscious and my taste and what I like to listen to. And I guess then when you start creating art, that has a way of influencing what you love, I suppose. And I was a big musical theatre fan growing up. I studied musical theatre, so that is where I ultimately found like big band and quite a lot of jazz standards came into my life at that point. So I suppose it's like an amalgamation of everything that I've sort of been given on the road to becoming an artist, really.
That's fantastic. So I'm born and raised in the Midlands, and I've always had an affection for jazz. Always. I grew up as a drummer, so naturally the best drummers in the world are jazz drummers, you know, as I'm sure you're very well aware. But I just, personally, I wasn't exposed to it, you know, so I would kind of listen to it in my own time. Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, the more classic jazz, I suppose. But like, you had such a smart route about it. You got into musicals and everything, which, as you say, big band. What a way to open the door to to that sound and get involved with it. But that is the sound, that is the instrument. Let's talk about the communication, because if there's one thing that constantly shows up whenever Carrie Baxter is there, is how communicative, how so well you're able to throw together your lyrics in your sounds. It feels like you have no fear of being an open book for almost 500,000 monthly listeners. Like, was this taught to you? Did you pick this up in life? Where?
Wow, do you know what? I so appreciate that over anything else, because I've always wanted to be a writer. I never really wanted to be a singer until quite late on in my life. And I think it's been a life lesson for me, actually, not to get too philosophical on you, but it has, because I've not been able to do that for most of my life. And then when I found music, I was like, oh, wow, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Right. Because I've kept a journal since I think I'm maybe 9 or 10. So I've got stacks of notebooks that contain the journey of my entire life. So realistically, I have been practicing how to communicate and write for my whole life, really. I just didn't know what it was leading me to until I started to write songs, really.
That's incredible. You kind of blew my mind as well when you say that you found music kind of late in life. But Carrie, your voice is like, it's stunning. Like, was it just, did you always have it? Did you take lessons?
I wouldn't say I started singing until my earliest memory is maybe 16, 17, which I started singing in musical theatre. I just kind of really wanted to be on stage, I suppose, and I came to it in transition years. That's still a thing in school?
It is, yes, it is still a thing, yeah.
Year? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And thankfully so, because some people find it a waste of time, or they say it is, but ultimately I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now unless I did that year and actually found the love of stage. Wow. And my voice was so bad back then, like, oh my word, like, if I listen back to the video, I think to myself, oh, Carrie, like, bless you.
Yeah.
You were trying.
You tried, yeah.
No, but I was so untrained, and I just didn't know, like, I had no control. I didn't really know range. I just was like figuring it out, I suppose. And then I obviously went and studied musical theatre, so I had quite regimented singing lessons then.
Okay.
And I had quite a lot of vocal problems actually growing up. So I had like nodules when I was quite young, and that's like quite a severe problem on your vocal cords.
Right.
So I had to do like quite a lot of singing therapy, speech therapy, sort of reversing the problems that I had caused my throat, I guess. So I would say that I've trained quite a lot now. But when I first started, absolutely not. Yeah. I got a clue what's going on.
It really is a muscle, isn't it? Like, it's how much work you put into it. What would have been a driving inspiration for you when it came to learning this style of singing?
Great question. Again, I think it's just what I grew up in and what you instinctively are drawn to. Right. I guess is a way of putting it. Like, I mean, my family used to listen to Norah Jones quite a lot, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. So, you know, I think the likes of them, Amy Winehouse was like was really finding her sort of global fame when I was growing up. So I think when you listen to very unique vocals that ultimately are given space in a song to say what they need to say, I actually think that that's what I value most about making work now. Because if a song is too bombarded, I'm just like, absolutely not. I need space, people.
Yeah.
You know? And I think like naturally when you listen to stuff like that, jazz just felt like freedom to me. And before I did some study on it and could understand where the genre came from and why people would write like that in jazz, I just instinctively or energetically was very drawn to that genre and the way that they would bend melodies and how they could improvise and how there you can feel so much struggle and pain, but is one of the most joyous, free genres that I think we'll ever experience, you know?
Honest to God.
So I think that's where it comes from. Yeah. A mixture of kind of what you grow up on and instinctively just what you're drawn to.
Yeah, you find that freedom. And I think that's one of the most beautiful ways I've heard jazz described, because it's weird to say that like jazz has its own rules, but kind of jazz doesn't have rules. It kind of breaks rules a little bit and it gets to kind of...
That's the beauty of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And like what an art form. And that's why I was extra giddy to get into this chat today, because like I say, I went to the Cork Jazz Fest. Do you ever go to the Cork Jazz Fest?
Oh, fantastic. I have been, yes.
Oh, what's their name? I can't remember them now. But I would go to the Clayton in Cork, and there's just this one jazz band, the Des Hopkins Jazz Band, and I love them. Oh my God, if I could be surrounded by that kind of music all the time, I'd just be so happy. Right, anyway, huge news, Carrie Baxter, because we're chatting now on Wednesday. You've dropped a brand new track. Originally, when we were going to jump into this call, I thought Loved You Before, which you dropped only, 2 weeks ago, I think, was going to be our talking about. But no, we've got Open Up Your Arms, which has just like such a hook, everything. I want to talk more about it, but obviously I want to hear your talk about it. It's this beautiful unannounced love arrival in a life, and as always, it's delivered in just such a beautiful way. So where did this song come from?
Good question. I'm going to sound like one of those people. I really hate when artists say this, but one of those songs that I don't even recall writing, actually. I was in a session and we were writing something else, and then it was the end of the day and my friend was playing these chords on the piano and I was recording a voice note. I literally just got a melody in my head really quickly. I recorded it on a voice note. I went home and I was like, wow, I love those chords that he was playing. This melody is so good.
Yeah.
I came back in the next day and I was like, I don't want to work on what we were doing yesterday. I need to work on this. And they were like, you're joking me, right? We're nearly finished the other thing. And I was like, I'm not joking you at all. I was like, listen to how good this sounds. Like, I love this. And I finished it last night. I was like, so basically play what you were doing yesterday. Let me put down this vocal and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So we wrote the song and the production wasn't really going in the way that I could hear it in my head.
Okay.
So I took it to my friend, who I was kind of in the midst of like really quite a deep writing process with. We had done like 5 tracks together.
Nice.
And I'm like, right, I want you to take this piano and this vocal and I need to drench it in like strings. So he's got this fantastic BBC orchestra on his Ableton. So I was like, yeah, play that, put that in there, put some more strings in. But I just could imagine it on this massive stage. And I was like, I just want this to feel expansive.
Yes.
I need it to feel huge, and I also need it to feel intimate at the same time. And he finished it there and then, and it was just a very quick process for me, this song.
God.
And it was kind of one of those ones where I had already had the lyric maybe like 3 weeks before we started it. This happens to me quite a lot, where I'll get a random idea and then the song will come afterwards. Because you just have to be in the room with the right people for it to come out, I think. So it was a very interesting process, but I like to call those moments just little nuggets of magic. I just love when a song comes together like that, because you can't really explain it. I didn't come in the room and be like, right, this is what I want to say. It just kind of happened, and I'm so grateful when I get songs like that, because it just reassures me that I'm listening and that I'm open to kind of receive those ideas, you know.
Exactly, and what a statement to be able to make. Like, one thing I was going to ask was how involved you are in the creative process, because it kind of feels, even if you were to take away the main vocals, you still feel like Carrie Baxter's driving the bus, and it's because like from the harmonies, everything, it's just so good. And may I just say, the drums, like when I was listening to Open Up Your Arms, and exactly like you say, it's that much more like intimate. It's the piano, it's the vocals, it's happening, and then after the 2 minute 30 mark, or wherever it is along that mark, all of a sudden the drums come in, the strings happen, and I'm like, oh, like it's just drenched in it, exactly like you said. But it obviously seems to be a great communication that you have with your band in the creative process, that you don't need to say anything, right?
Well, do you know what it is? It's experience, number one, because Lord knows I have been in a room many times where I have let other people do what they want, and I'm like, experience gives you the confidence to say, this is the exact sound that I want, it is the exact time that I want to have, and then collaborate from there, you know. And I think because I work with the person who produced this is called James Berkeley, incredible musician, producer, just so skilled, but we have a bond from working together, that when I come in and I'm like, James, I need to feel like I am in a massive orchestra hall and there's like 42 strings behind me, and I also need to feel like I'm singing to one person in a bedroom. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, I think so, Carrie. And then he'll just start playing, and I'm like, yes, bravo, James. That's exactly what I was talking about. And yeah, we just have a really great bond and a deep understanding, I think, just from working together quite a lot of what I'm trying to achieve. And again, I think just experience of being an artist and practicing over and over and over again, saying, this is what I'm looking for, guys. Like, what can we do to achieve that? It takes a lot of courage and trust in yourself, as well as trust in the other people in the room, you know?
Yeah.
Because to a certain degree, I like to bring stuff, allow that person to bring their creativity, and then interrupt them. Because, you know, I think sometimes you can come in and just not allow the person to bring their magic to the room, which is the whole point of collaboration. That's why you're there, you know? So I do like to give him a certain amount of runway space before I'm like, excuse me, I need to take out that sound at 31 seconds.
Yeah. What a beautiful relationship to have. And as you say, like, over years, experience being a huge thing. I know personally and professionally, I've heard stories and experienced my own where, you know, you might be new to it, you walk into a studio and you're kind of thinking the engineer is going to have all the right answers for you. And then, yeah, exactly, you're kind of left in the lurch then, being like, actually, I wanted to do that again. But exactly, you're building the confidence. And fortunately, the results are speaking for themselves, Carrie. Like, these are some beautiful results. Every single time you drop a new track, everyone who listens to the VIP can vouch for it. I get so excited. I'm like, let's bring it on. New Carrie Baxter song. It's great. What can we expect that's next? What can we get excited about after Open Up Your Arms?
Okay, well, that's the last drop for 2025 because I'm surviving on coffee right now.
Excellent.
So I'm going to have a little breather. I have got a project coming early next year that will be, how do I say this without ruining the surprise? The first of its kind for me. So yeah, a project.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That is all we need, as you say, just a nugget, and then let that turn into magic. Oh my God, Carrie, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us here on the Very Irish Playlist, and we look forward to actually playing Open Up Your Arms right after this interview here on the Very Irish Playlist. Gary, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and have a great 2026.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. I so greatly appreciate the support. Thank you.